Hello, everybody. Dorothy here, Professional Astrologer. You can find me at nhastrologer.com or Dorothy Morgan Astrologer on the web. So today I want to talk about the eclipse of November 30th. And the forecast is written out, so you can read it there or just get on my, join my newsletter email list, and I'll put it in your inbox. Only once a week I do that. So today let's talk about this eclipse that we have coming up. Now I'm posting this way early just because the eclipses are so important to prep for and to get ready for. So look at the forecast before this one. It tells you how to prepare for this eclipse. And today I'm going to talk about what the eclipse will present, how it can present itself. So on the 30th, we have this eclipse at 8 degrees of Gemini. Depending on where you live, it's going to be early in the morning, whether we're on the West Coast, East Coast, 9:30 in the morning, even if you're over in the UK. So it's an early morning eclipse. It's a full moon. No, we can't see it. The thing is, I want us to use this in the best way possible. So how do you use a full moon in Gemini? First off, the Gemini energy is about communicating and information, sharing information, gathering information, talking things out, and looking at a lot of those details. Not quite Virgo-like details, but lots and lots of little trivial pieces of information. So very important. The sun in Sagittarius, that represents the truth, the bigger truth, and gathering on an honesty and truth and information. So how do we want to use this personally? So first I want us to look back. I'm going to grab my notes. They're in front of me here, but they're not at the camera. First, I want to give you some information about why this is so important. This full moon, each lunar phase, there's lunar phases and lunar cycles. Today, I'm just going to focus in on that 8th degree of Gemini because we had Venus in Gemini this year. She goes through the zodiac, within a year. She's kind of paces with the sun mostly and Mercury. The thing is, she went retrograde this year. She retrogrades about every 18 months or so, which begins a whole new cycle for her. This year, she was retrograde in Gemini. That was back in the late spring, so May into June. And so Venus in Gemini and retrograde. Now, she was at the 8th degree of Gemini on these dates. So write these dates down. And again, they're in the written forecast if you want to read this out. April 13th, June 13th, and July 9th. April 13th was her first pass. And that also was a day called the Stargate Day that people like to focus on if you do the numbers like numerology and your energy worker, because it was a 4th month. 13 of April reduces to a 4, 2020 reduces to a 4. So this Stargate, what does that mean? It means there was this opening, this energetic opening, if you were paying attention, that you could step into for a higher vibration and step into something that is different and new. And really, since we had that Gemini, Venus and Gemini, that gave us that opportunity for communication. This has been big, especially in the year where we're all sequestered home in that time period, right? Unprecedented, everybody at home, nobody going anywhere. So when Venus went retrograde, that would be on June 13th when we had that connection, and then July 9th when she was moving forward. All of those 3 days, she was at 8 degrees of Gemini, and this is where the eclipse is on November 30th. This is why it's important. That means we get to look back to those dates, see what you were working on. Now, with Venus, whenever Venus is retrograde, relationships always go through some sort of adjustment of some kind because it's just supposed to. It's a natural adjustment, right? It's a natural checking in, so to speak. In the sign of Gemini, with Venus in that sign of Gemini, of course, that means we have a lot to say, and we need to say a lot. Now, with so many people and all of us being so stuck at home, if you will, with family members, which is fine, and our partners and our loves, great for some people, but not great for others. If you were just on the verge of not doing so great, situations that we went through in April, May, June, when Venus was back and forth across this 8th degree, it could have made a tipping point and things fell apart. Or it could have been a tipping point where you went to therapy. I have a friend that is a relationship therapist. She's a psychiatrist, and in relationships, she's never been busier. because this quarantine, of course, COVID, of course, Venus, this would have happened even with Venus without the virus going through, but that Venus Gemini energy retrograde, relationships needed to have conversations. So there's plenty of people and there's plenty of different ways that this can play out. But the point is like you and your partner needed to figure stuff out, and it may have brought you closer or split you up or given you the opportunity to work towards something that is a mutual goal. Now, I know not everybody has a partner, and this could even play out in business partnerships, but it's almost always, because of its Venus and the way this is presenting, it's almost always about the personal relationships. But there is other things in the mundane world, which I don't want to get into. I want to stick personal. I want you to look at what you were thinking and what you were going through. And this full moon eclipse on November 30th, and even coming up to it, is going to illuminate that more. So you can see how far you've come to continue down the road together or not, right? Or to continue doing something or communicating something that's really important for you, or not doing it. Now, I know not everybody is in a partnership with everybody. I mean, I live alone and I'm not in a personal partnership with somebody at this point in time. And so that doesn't mean I don't have close relationships that I've needed to work through things with, because we always do. But I want you to focus in on yourself. And this even goes for you folks who are in relationships. It's about self-care and that process of that inner dialogue. And I'm talking about that inner dialogue because Gemini is about the words we speak. And if you're not in a relationship, then, and again, even if you are, I want you to look at how well you're taking care of yourself, your self-care. What is that inner dialogue like? I've been working on this all year personally, because it's just like once in a while you hear something inside your head and I'm like, wow, I would never say that to somebody, but I would say it to myself. It's stuff that gets in there some way, somehow, and we know it's childhood or whatever it is. We all have our ways. There's something in there that sticks and it stays for a long time, and it's even in the background, that self-dialogue, and we're not even paying attention to it. These transits, this time frame, this eclipse on November 30th, and those dates, April, June, and July, would have been a wonderful opportunity for you to turn that self-care into yourself, so you're able to shift that dialogue. And it takes a lot of determination to stop yourself from, just constantly saying the things that are negative, We all have our different words, so it doesn't even matter what they are. But if we're being critical of ourselves, then we need to shift that. And that's a wonderful, wonderful way to use this energy, whether you're in a relationship with others or not. So that's what November 30th is bringing up. The eclipse of November 30th is making us very aware of that. Now, in this eclipse, the moon is also in a hard aspect of Venus in Scorpio right now, just a couple degrees off. Venus in Scorpio, she's in a place where she's ready to take a deeper dive, really a deep dive into understanding and get to the bottom of things. That's what Scorpio does. So this eclipse on November 30th at 8 Gemini makes 150 degrees, called the quincunx, to Venus. I could show you the chart. To Venus in Scorpio. So let me see if I have that chart available. Actually, I don't. I will pop that up in a second. Here it is. Make sure I'm sharing it. There it is. Here it is. So here's Venus at 10 degrees of Scorpio and the moon at 8 Gemini. So 150 degrees, the quincunx. So what that means is like there are adjustments, right, that we need to make. So use this full moon eclipse to recognize what it is you need to let go of. Take some time. It doesn't have to be the minute that this eclipse hits, but take some time to look at what's important for you and start, pulling the details apart, but not all the way, just enough. It's like, so you can really just say, I recognize that behavior, or I recognize those words aren't great for me. And then as soon as you recognize it, then just take your hands off and don't Don't beat it to death. Just like that recognition and that knowingness of something that has been in the way or bothering you. As soon as you recognize it, it shifts the energy and it allows something to transform and change. That's what the quincunx energy in this direction represents. And I'm going to stop the share. And that's what it also means when we have the planet, one of the planets involved in this quincunx in the sign is Scorpio. You're going to have, we all have an opportunity to do a lot of shifting and healing and releasing and letting go, especially over the next 2 weeks as we're moving towards the next eclipse and the final one of 2020, which will be on December 14th in Sagittarius. And that's an opportunity for us to begin a lot of new things. And I'll talk about that then. The rest of the week, we have things. So while we're at this eclipse and all of these things are going on, and then it continues, the eclipse again is the apex of the monthly cycle. And we have an opportunity now to release some more things. Now, within the day, the next day, on December 1st, Mercury enters Sagittarius. So it's going to join up with the sun at some point in time. They're in the, well, no, it won't, not in Sag, but they're both in the same sign. So that is more about gathering truthful information and revealing truthful information, right? So that will show up too. And we'll have a lot coming at us, a lot of information, especially in the outside world. So we're going to have to sift and sort and allow most of it not to get in, only bring in the most important information that you want to hear. So we have that going on, right? And then we also have the moon in Cancer on Wednesday the 2nd and Thursday the 3rd, and part up very, very early on Friday the 4th. That moon in Cancer, of course, that means it's opposite the Capricorn planets. So we still have 3 planets in Capricorn. It's going to stir up more emotions, right? So we really will need to care for ourselves and nurture ourselves even better. And then all of Friday, Saturday, and half of Sunday, most of Sunday, the moon in Leo makes more quincunx aspects. So I would just say Friday, Saturday, most of Sunday, just whatever you plan, give yourself a lot of wiggle room for things to take a lot more time than they usually do. All right, so this is how we can use all of these things. Now, I talk more in depth about all of these aspects and more in my membership. Where's it called? I mean, blank, in my membership area on Patreon. So you can also connect with that here and in the below this video if we're here on YouTube. All right, thank you. Comment, like, share. Please share to your groups. And if you would like private info, again, that's my gig. Anyways, thank you guys. I'm kind of winding this down really weird. All right. Blessings, everybody. And comment below. I always read all the comments. I love to see what everybody's up to. Blessings. Namaste.